but yeah, hopefully that's okay. Yeah, so very, very warm welcome to all of you. Yeah, and thank you again for being here today. So the art of moving forward, migrant empowerment, creative tools for community building and advocating labour rights. So that was the title that we gave to this project 2.5, maybe 3 years ago now, when we first seeded the idea of the project. And yeah, so today we'll be having a look at some of the stories that have been created over the sort of length of the project. We're coming towards culmination of this project at the moment. We're also going to show some of the artworks that have been made and some of the videos, and specifically go into the approaches that we've been using to be able to work with migrant women and to work collaboratively on this project across the 3 different partner countries. Yeah, so first of all, to say a little bit more about what is the art of moving forward, like the framework that we've been using. So it's a European initiative, collaboration between 3 different organizations working in quite distinct contexts, but all of them working in the intersection of art, migration, and labor rights. And particularly, the project focuses on work with migrant women. And the focus was to work creatively. So that's really at the heart of the project, is to use creativity to both build community on the ground and support empowerment and building capacity within migrant women groups, labour unions that are migrant-led. And also the other part of the project is around creating visibility about the lived experiences at both the level of the general public, but also politically. So to try to advocate for and with migrant women. And yeah, the kind of goal wasn't to use arts as a means for political change. So yeah, some of the key questions that we've been asking over this time is, how do we move forward together, despite the systems that are designed to hold us back? How do we shift public narrative around migration and around labour, around work? Who has the right to do what type of work? And also to bring some of the systemic injustices around systemic racism, like how are the systems created that that means certain people have access to particular labour rights and others don't, and so to bring that discrimination to the surface in a way that we can talk about it, make art about it, and also that we can create spaces where other people can step in to learn and to ask questions. And how can migrant women shape the stories and policies that affect their lives? So this image was part of a draft as we were thinking about the design of the new website that we'll be creating. But this is some of the text that we've been co-creating as we're culminating this project between the organisations. So this is the art of moving forwards, a movement of solidarity, dignity, and collective power. So this photo actually is from a few weeks ago when the 3 organisations, La Bolina, Lesvos Solidarity, and Theatre Pedagogues, all got together in Lesbos and had a week-long gathering as a way of stepping towards looking at how we disseminate the work of this project, of what we've been doing on the ground, the 3 organisations. And yeah, just to tell a bit of the story of the project. So the collaboration began between Theatre Pedagogues and La Bolina. Later on, we're going to hear much more from each of the three different organizations. So I won't explain too much about what each of the organizations do right now, but just to say that we are all grassroots organizations or associations. So yeah, it started with this kind of real interest in how we were working. And then Lesvos Solidarity came in once we'd already secured the funding. And it's been such an honor and a deep pleasure, I think, to be able to work together, these three organizations, because of the dedication and commitment, and the creativity that each organization has brought in, and the way of working with communities, and with women that is absolutely putting the dignity and the respect at the center. And I find actually it's quite unusual, in a way that many NGOs are working in a way that they're trying not to become friends with. So there's a real sense of distancing sometimes that we can see in this sector, of professionalism in inverted commas. And I think that the very heart of the way that these three organizations are working is really about radical friendship and bringing a sense of the whole person, the whole human, into the work. And that changes everything about the way that we, about the types of conversations that these organizations that we've been having together, and about the way that we've worked with people on the ground. And I think that it's one of the things that I find very interesting about this project, in terms of how the results that we're able to be seeing. The people that we are working with, we decided at the beginning that we would focus on working with women, and although many of the women that the organizations are working with have experienced really challenging, often journeys that often include a lot of systemic racism and incredibly challenging blocks. Their arrival into these countries, into Spain, into Poland, and into Greece, means that they're able to bring this kind of wealth of skill, extraordinary skill, courage, and imagination. And so the project really wanted to start shifting the narrative, shifting the imagination of both general public, but also of politicians and people in power around the identity of migrant women. So it's funded through Erasmus. It's a small scale partnership, a KA2. So I can speak more about that later if anyone is interested more in the kind of in the funding. We could answer some questions about that, but otherwise I won't go too much into the funding. So our ways of working, we were interested in local transformation. Like I was saying before, around really supporting creative practice. So each of the three organizations will share in a moment about the work that they've been doing on the ground with the women. So the funding really supported us to be doing what we were doing better, and with funding, with some money, to be able to actually do activities on the ground. And then the next step was looking at creative advocacy, so making artworks with and by the women. So that was, in each country, the artworks were slightly different that were made, but performances, films, public screenings, talks, artworks, photography. So a whole breadth of different song, dance, many different forms of creative output that have been used. Again, like in terms of the public storytelling, that the idea is that we're going to be creating a website. It's almost ready, which will be a sort of a place where we can present all of these different artworks and pieces that were made through the project, but linking them together in this kind of using this sort of translocal. So the idea is that we're able to really sort of zoom in deeply to what's been happening and how the project is responding to the local context, whilst also connecting that across European-wide struggle, because although there's a lot of distinctions between how the labour systems are in the 3 different countries, there's a lot of similarities about the challenges that women are facing across Europe. So this is part of a manifesto that was collectively written between the organisations, that is really kind of the culmination, I guess, in a way, of the research and learning that's been going on over these years, and that has come together with trying to be kind of as stripped back and as daring as possible to be able to really to speak clearly about the demands and the needs that resonate across a Europe-wide perspective. I'm not going to read it all, but I will send these notes out so that you can, or maybe I will. Shall I read it all? Because I think it's probably quite hard to read on the screen. I'll read it. Because it's very powerful. It feels powerful and it feels resonant to the project. So I will. Our services are needed, but our rights are not respected. More than 20 million migrant women call Europe home, and we are the backbone of its care, agriculture, and domestic sectors. Together, we support families, nourish communities, and sustain economies. Yet our work often goes unrecognised, our voices unheard, and our rights denied or violated. This injustice is not accidental. It is rooted in colonial histories, racial hierarchies, and neoliberal systems that strategically exploit women's labour while stripping us of recognition, dignity, and equity. We refuse to be defined by these systems. Instead, we are weaving networks of mutual support that transcend borders, languages, and legal statuses. We are organising, learning, and building collective power. We demand the conditions necessary for each of us to thrive. We envision a Europe where migrant women, like all women, can earn fair pay, hold secure legal contracts, have time off and access healthcare, balance work and caring for our families. This is the art of moving forward, a movement of solidarity, dignity, and collective power. Join us. Oh, it feels really, such an exciting moment actually to read that out loud. It's the first time we've read that out loud in public. So yeah, that's it feels like a real celebration of the results of the project. So yeah, today we're going to be. I think I've spoken about this already, but yeah, today is kind of a moment where we wanted to turn out from the 3 organisations, to turn out and to connect with others who are interested in our ways of working, and to have this moment where we can also exchange with you. We'd love to hear from you. Towards the end, we'll have time where we'll go into some breakout rooms to have a bit of a discussion about how the approaches that we've been using resonates with your work in your local context. And at any point, if you've got questions or something that you'd like to hear more of, or that you're unsure about, either you can raise your hand and we'll try to get to you, or you can put a question in the chat and we will, whoever's presenting at that time, we'll pause and get to your question, because we really want to make it as participatory and interactive as possible so that it's really meaningful for you. So we're curious about making this, yeah, as interactive as possible. So unless there's any questions now, I will pass over to Tomek. So first we'll hear from Tomek about, or I think it's from Tomek who's going to speak first, from Theatre Pedagogues, and then we'll hear from Lesvos Solidarity, and then we'll come back to La Bolina. Okay, I pass over to you.
Thank you, Luke. Yeah, it's really like I felt this sense of sense in my body when you said about radical friendship, like about this method of acting and being in the world. That this sense of professionalism, as you called it, is. Hi, Ute. Could you mute yourself if it's possible? Hi, Ute. Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, and I just wanted to acknowledge that because it somehow touched me. And I'm Tomek from the Association of Theatre Pedagogues in Warsaw, Poland. And I wanted to present now the organization and how we have been cooperating with the Labor Union of Caregivers. And so we are the Association of Theatre Pedagogues. We're like active for about 15 years. And one of our main branches of like how we act in the world is by collaborating with various actors that have social issues that are present in the world. And one of them for the past about 3-4 years is the Labor Union of Caregivers. It's a ongoing process and of the labor union of establishing itself and of collaborating with us. And we are not the only actor that has been collaborating with the union and helping the union to work with the labor demands in Poland. But as I see it now, the recent actions that we have took are actions that are actions that uh, uh, are actions that combined various activities that have been hosted by the association in collaboration with the labor union for the past 3-4 years. So there have been, for the 3-4 years, there have been songs written and composed and sung by caregivers and professional artists. And there has been a like list of demands created. And now I could say that like combining this together, what we have done is a set of rehearsals and also an idea of going with one particular demand to the Ministry of Labor in Poland. That this demand is to make the labor of caregivers legal in Poland. So the legality means that legal contracts with social securities are signed with the caregivers to make a performative action in the center of Warsaw by a protest, a march, and transfer the demands on the hands of the workers of the Ministry of Labor. And this has been done in April this year. And it has been a combination of various artistic forms. So we have worked with the labor union of the caregivers in rehearsals, as you can see here. And these rehearsals have been combined with other artistic forms that are like a bit outside of the project, but also it's like the timeline of the project was that we have been also working with drawing comics, so it's another artistic form. And in the end, there has been a march in which we created small choreographic actions, statues of empowerment in public spaces with like superhero outfits and golden megaphones, in which like the culmination of the activity was transferring the labor demands to one of the directors of the labor ministry. And this is the picture of the march that has concluded by the labor ministry. And now I would like to show you a 2-minute video of the march itself and some of the caregivers that have like their opinions voiced in the video. But I need to actually stop it first, stop the sharing of the screen and share it once more to do that. Yeah.
Jesteśmy fundamentem społeczności naszej. Dlatego, że bez naszej pracy, pomocy młodym pokoleniom w domach, dajemy szansę rozwoju młodemu pokoleniu, robienia kariery i budowania swojego państwa. Chcemy być uczciwi wobec państwa, w którym mieszkamy i wobec siebie. I chcemy, żeby nas zauważali. Chcemy legalnej pracy, dostępu do NFZ-u, do opieki zdrowotnej i do legalnego zatrudnienia.
Nie jesteśmy od wszystkiego! 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 Nie jesteśmy od wszystkiego!
Чим більше особ прийде, тим більше буде нас, більше будемо мати більше голосу, більше моці і більше якогось, може, нас більше людей тоді почує, як нас на то. Бо нас і так є багато, ну але що нас ніхто не бачить і ніхто не знає. А тим більше дівчат, які працюють по хатах і є 24 години на добу, то їх взагалі ніхто не бачить, ніхто не видить і ніхто не чує. І так відробили і поїхали, захворіли і поїхали. Я так маю знайомих, які працюють і взагалі місяць не виходять з хат. Чим більше нас буде, то тим більша сила, навіть в чужому краї.
Apelujemy do ministerstwa. Czas na konkretne rozwiązania. Starość to też przyszłość, nasza przyszłość. Dołączajcie do nas. Bądźmy widoczni, słyszalne, razem.
W tańcu nieważny jest język, czy jestem z Ukrainy, czy z Polski. Mogę być nawet z Paryża.
Yeah, so this is like a film excerpt, like the shortening of the a short part of the film. If you are interested, you can also see it online on YouTube. And I wanted to ask if you have maybe any questions as to our work, and I think then like we have like 1 minute for some questions for this part, and then I will pass it on to Michał.
I have a question. How did the Minister of Labor respond to the demand that the performers presented?
I actually think that the ministry has a legal obligation to respond, but as the letter was formed by the formally by the labor union, I do not know if they did respond. The labor union has its premises in another city, like the head, like the office of the labor union, and maybe Ruslana can say if there has been any response later on when she will be speaking as the. No, there has not been, as I said. So we did not have a response. It is like this, that it has been a performative action. So like it did not have a stamp on it that it has been sent to the ministry. So like maybe that's why they did not respond, because it didn't like go formally into, but like there has been contacts with the Ministry of Labor, and I felt like a good understanding, and that also that they went out was a big discussion between us and the Ministry of Labor. And so I feel the goodwill, but I think there it stopped, and maybe this letter was put somewhere on a shelf. I don't know.
Fingers crossed. How long ago was this?
This was in April.
Oh, so not too long. Maybe it's
Yeah.
stuck in administrative, but
I hope so, that there will be a response. So if there are no more questions, I would give the Zoom to Michalis.
Hey everyone, how are you? I want to say thank you on my part for being here today as well. And I wanted to share a little bit about the story of Lesvos Solidarity. And then we get back to the current projects and what we did for the Art of Moving Forward as well. So Lesvos Solidarity has started in 2012 to support people on the financial crisis. It was when the first, and then the humanitarian crisis, when the first self-organized camp to recept and support refugees was born. In 2016, Lesvos Solidarity took a legal form, and they started to, it officially took shape and offered a holistic approach to displaced people through the Mosaic Support Center, a center that was a hub of education, culture, and solidarity in general. Today, our work spans 5 different key areas. Our Safe Passage Bags workshop, which is our flagship upskilling project, where we take life jackets, boats, and different things related to the refugee crisis. We upcycle them and we make them into bags and different accessories as a symbol of survival, hope, and dignity. Other than that, we have our education and culture project, part of which is the Art of Moving Forward. Generally, we try to create bridges and to have cultural exchange opportunities for locals and refugees. Our housing project, which is a shelter for women and children to offer temporary housing in a dignified space and to offer support, healing, and generally a path forward. Last but not least, advocacy is like the cornerstone of whatever we do, and we try to raise our voice, the stories that we share, and all the harmful policies that we see, to challenge them and to expand our model of solidarity. For the art of moving forward, we took a theoretical and practical approach to how we should go about it. We created some interviews, which I'm very happy to show you a small part of it later. And we had a lawyer from the Migrant Integration Center who gave details and presenting about the Greek labor law and covering the rights and responsibilities of workers, which provided practical knowledge to the participants, helping them better understand the legal framework of the workplace in Greece. During the visit of our partners in Greece, we premiered all the videos that we created. It was a powerful, moving moment of exchange and seeing all the different approaches and artwork and all the cultural things that we all created. On the theoretical side, we created a special report by our advocacy expert focusing on access to employment rights for refugees and asylum seekers. And it outlines key challenges as well as good practices that promote inclusion and treatment. Generally, for us, the project brought together knowledge and creativity, and it was amazing all this storytelling that was created under it. And I'm incredibly proud, and we're incredibly proud of the women who participated and shared their strength and voices, which was the heart of this project. So I would like to show you a small snippet of the interviews. Give me 1 second, and the full video is going to be uploaded during the next days on our YouTube channel. Let me know if everything works and we can start.
In Turkey, I was working there in a factory. There they make light, different types of lights, electrical.
When working in Turkey, let's say 2 years, you spend 1 year in prison, 1 year in the house. That's how living in Turkey is. Because me, for instance, I came from Iraq to Turkey. So I was not having a passport, I was not having a document, nothing.
In order to have freedom in country, you have to have the document, the residence. If not, it's a big problem. Even if you want to go to the supermarket, you want to go in town to do so, you cannot because you are afraid of the police.
The conditions of work is a little bit tedious. You work hard, they pay small. That's how Turkey is. You work hard, they pay small.
Πρωί δούλευα στο μαγαζί, απόγευμα πήγαινα να καθαρίζω σπίτια. Πρωί που έφευγα 5 η ώρα, το βράδυ πήγαινα στο σπίτι 12 η ώρα. Το άφηνα μωρό, κοιμότανε, όταν γυρνούσα δεν έβλεπα το μωρά, πάλι κοιμότανε.
When we sit out there is to tell all the single moms not to lose hope. We need to stand strong in order to achieve our goal in future. You need to be a strong woman. You can make it, you can make it in life. With life, there is hope.
Life is so beautiful. I think for everybody there is supposed to be encouraged and to live and not to give up and not to lose hope, because this life is God is the giver, and everybody is supposed to live it the way it is. Because the obstacles we find ourselves in these difficulties places, but as long as you have hope, you're going to make it, and I believe in it. Yes, and I really appreciate for your time, because it's not easy for, especially for us refugees. Yeah, you appreciate, you feel you are at home.
In Turkey, I was working there in a factory.
So that was our interviews, or part of the interviews that we took during the project. I don't know if you have any questions. Otherwise, we can jump to Ruth and La Bolina. Okay.
Great, thank you so much. There's time later as well for more questions and more discussions. So I'm just gonna again work out how to do this slideshow. One sec. Oh no, I just clicked closed. One sec, bear with me.
Ruth, can I ask a question while you do that? Oh, you got it.
Yeah, no, please do. Yeah.
This is just a very fast one. Thank you, Michalis. I just followed you on Instagram. But Tomek, do you have an Instagram also? Does the organization have an Instagram account? Sorry, we can't hear you.
Yes, I will write on the chat the name of the organization, and you can find it by.
Thank you.
Yeah, maybe also to say that we will send all of the videos and the information of the organizations and some other resources to all the people that have signed up. So
thank you.
Yeah, there's okay, so yeah, just to give a bit of a frame of La Bolina, we're an association based in the south of Spain, and we right now are not doing have closed this part of the project, but for many years, and what we began doing was looking at regenerative farming and working with migrant and refugee communities, offering trainings in permaculture. So and doing theatre. So we did many like I was saying before about the holistic, like really kind of creating social activities, employment, sort of dignified livelihoods, and regenerating rural areas. So the idea was the antithesis of what I'm going to be talking about, which is the life of people working in the plastic sea. But yeah, this kind of like quite idyllic image is how La Bolina began as a way of kind of creating a really small scale example of what's possible. That's quite different from this, which is an image from above of the plastic sea, and this is just such a small section of the plastic sea. It just goes on and on. You can see it from the moon. And it's called the plastic sea. These are tiny greenhouses that are kind of like this mosaic that go all the way across the province of Almeria in the south of Spain. It actually covers about 60,000 football pitches of land. And underneath the plastic, there's between 10 and 20,000 mainly migrant workers. It's really challenging to actually know the exact amount of people working in this context, because many people move between regular contracted employment and irregular either kind of seasonal work or working but without a legal contract. And actually one of the main challenges of this area is that it's incredibly difficult to to empadronarse, which is like to register yourself locally. And because you need to have a job contract to be able to do that. And without that, you can't get the healthcare or access to all of the things that come with citizenship, which the majority of people, when they move to another country and begin work, are able to get. So there's this kind of space that's slightly outside of the legal system. Some people are able to get legal work, but it's incredibly precarious. And it's almost designed in that way because it's beneficial that the employers aren't having to pay for social security. And the reality of the lives in this area is very harsh. And so for about the last sort of 7 years or so, we've been developing projects with women's groups. And I particularly have been always interested in working with women, although the vast majority of people who are working in the Plastic Sea are men. But the experience of women, mainly from Morocco or sub-Saharan Africa, West Africa, is that there's many intersecting levels of exploitation, including gender-based violence. So their experience often is quite, yes, the realities that they live are very challenging. And so we've been working, with informal women's networks, again, through radical friendship. So, and I'll talk about this maybe a little bit later, about more into the kind of the research approach of La Bolina. So we've been using embodied arts-based workshops, a lot of cooking, just like hanging out with people, cooking, using food, conversation, gaining trust, and this real sense of being there with people, for people, storytelling together, and then the slightly more formal kind of theatre workshops, which we've done in collaboration with various NGOs, and as well as the informal kind of grassroots groups. It's very difficult to actually, one of the challenges with the La Bolina have found with the project is that it's very difficult to organize something in this context because people often are working 6 days a week, and they're up at 5 a.m. in the morning and they work incredibly long hours, and often have challenges with their papers, or there's many things going on in their lives. So this kind of idea that we're just going to kind of go in and offer theatre workshops on a Thursday afternoon doesn't work in this context. So we've really adapted. So a lot of the things that we've done have been like working with creating spaces with children as well. So the women and children have come together and doing that on Sundays, and making it as much, going to pick people up from their homes so that they have the transport to be able to join. Building this group. And also there's another challenge that people are really scared of speaking out because of fear of losing their jobs, which is a reality that happens. So people who are seen by their bosses to be saying about any labor rights violations or other types of human rights violations that they're experiencing in their work often lose their job. And then so there's a real sense of like not wanting to become part of a labor union, not wanting to stand up or to speak out. So there's a lot of isolation that people, so it kind of exacerbates the, I'm going to show you a few photos from workshops that we've done. And again, it's most people don't want to have their image shown because of that fear. So with the photos that we've got of the workshops we've done, this is a theatre space that we used in San Isidro de Nija, which is like in the heart of the Plastic Sea. And the women did some performance and theatre making up on the stage. And again, yeah, this is a scene from a performance. And yeah, this is a quote that someone, kind of, yeah, what someone, one of the women said after taking part in one of the theatre workshops, that after being able to work with a story of violence that she'd experienced in her workplace, that she could breathe again. And it was that sense of being able to not just hold on her own the experiences that she and many others had been having, but that she was actually not only able to just speak it, but feel a sense of being witnessed through performing and through being able to share it in her own terms, in the way that she wanted to. That wasn't like a legal interview, that it was a coming together and working with that creatively. And so that's the kind of transformation that I think is really, it's subtle and it's personal and also is political. And I think that the culmination of creating spaces like that, safe spaces for people to come together, is really important. Yeah, so we've done performances and share like film screenings in the UK and in Spain with the film that was made during the project. And we have a list of policies that have been co-written between the women and the legal groups, and also the associations and NGOs that we've worked with across the few years that we've been running the Art of Moving Forward. Yeah, the idea is that we're working, again, like through writing the manifesto, to work towards particular demands that will support the women to be able to get labour rights recognised. And also, one of the other kind of critical things that would impact their lives is access to transport to work. And so this is such a simple thing, but to have buses that take them to and from work in the early hours or late at night, so they're not walking hours on their own. So Life Under the Plastic Sea was the film that we made with the feminist anti-racist migrant women collective Plataforma Zero. And I'm going to come back to showing you at the end in a second, but first I'm going to show you, these were some of the comments and feedback that we've received from the sharings of the film. So people, yeah, the film and also the performance work. So we've made an immersive experience where audiences ate food that Fatima, a recipe that Fatima makes when I go to see her, that she cooks me couscous. And then so I would also share that with the audiences, so that there's a sense of not being able to take them directly to see the extent of what's happening in the Plastic Sea, and also the beauty of the hospitality that we receive when we're there, this sense of real, like, yeah, again, radical friendship. But it's like the audiences get a taste of that, and we're exploring how to not only do that with general public, but also with people in decision making and power, people with power to make decisions about the lives of the people working in the Plastic Sea. Yeah, so in terms of what's next, then yeah, there's this continuing to build alliances with labour unions that are already in existence, and with other grassroots groups, and also with the film and with other the artworks that have been made in Spain, but also across the 3 countries, to continue to call for EU level action on migrant labour rights. So yeah, I'm going to stop. Or can I? One sec. I need to be able to log out of this to be able to click back in to show the film. Sorry. Okay. And yeah, we'll just see a minute or 2 of this. Can you hear it?
Carmen, primero, siempre. Así mi oración, hablo con mi marido y algo para comer o para llevar el trabajo. Yo bajo de aquí hasta la parada. Encontramos mujeres. En la parada, y se van caminando. No hay servicio de transporte público, no hay autobús, no hay un coche, no hay nada. No. Y habla con el jefe, dice, por favor, mira, si quiere, búscanos algún coche. Dice, a mí no me importa. Si quiere trabajar, trabaja. Si no quiere, busca la vida. ¿Cuánto caminas todos los días para ir al trabajo? Casi por la mañana 1 hora, por la tarde 1 hora. Cuando trabajamos, él, lo que manda, a soltar nosotros. Porque a veces habla cosas malas y nosotros no sabíamos qué dice. Ponemos ríe, wow. Entonces, eso no me gusta. ¿Tú crees que la gente del gobierno es consciente que ese tomate que está comiendo en la ensalada lo ha recogido tú o otra mujer migrante? No. ¿Por qué crees que no son conscientes? Ellos ricos, gente ricos no sabían nada de la vida, de la normal.
So yeah, again, the full video is on YouTube, so that can be seen and shared after. Yeah, if anyone has any specific questions around this, then maybe you can ask now, or if they're more general questions, then we've got time at the end for more questions. The idea now is to have another round of conversations. So we'll present each of the 3 organizations a bit more in detail with someone like an invited guest. So to talk more about the research and the kind of offer case studies from the project. Yeah. So Vera.
Yeah, I just have a little questions of the theater workshops. I just was interested, like, who is the audience then? When you said like they cannot speak up about their stories because they may get in trouble. So is it more like you show them in between the workshop, or do you have at the end like an audience where you show your projects?
Yeah, so maybe so in later on I'm gonna speak to that, like how because I hope that Fatima would be able to be here today with us to present, but she wasn't able to. So I will in the next sort of after. So first it will be Theatre Pedagogues and then Lesvos Solidarity. But I wanted to speak because I think that's one of the one of the aspects in terms of how I've been working as a researcher practitioner in that context, in terms of working with people with lived experience and then being able to translate that to share with audiences. So that bridging is a big part of what I feel like my role as an activist and as a practitioner. But then the ethics around that is complex and vast. And so yeah, I'd love to kind of pick up that very question in a little bit later.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Great. So yeah, I will pass over to Ruslana and Julia, who will share a little bit more about the work that they've been doing in Poland.
Tak. Dzień dobry jeszcze raz. Nazywam się Ruslana, jestem przewodniczącą Związku Zawodowego Pracowników Domowych w Polsce.
Hello everyone, my name is Ruslana. I am a leader of a labor union in Poland of caregivers of elderly people, and I will also introduce myself. My name is Julia, and I'm a part of Association of Theatre Pedagogues, and with Tomek we've been working with the labor union and with women for the last 2 years. And yeah, I will be translating today as much as I can. Yeah, so like we'll be playing first Ruslana will tell, and then I will translate.
Założyliśmy związek w 2021 roku. Mamy teraz 100 członków z deklaracją, i na swoim jakby grupie mamy już 1014 chyba osób.
So we founded a labor union in 2020, and at the moment we have 100 declared members in the labor union, and on our fan page and social media we have more than 1,000 followers so far.
Pracujemy i zrzeszamy się z kobietami, które mają problemy z wyzyskiem, spotykają się w pracy i poza pracą. Najbardziej tych, którym nie chcą płacić, nie chcą umowy dać i nadużywają ich pracą.
We've been cooperating with women, especially whose labor rights and other rights have been violated. For example, they haven't been paid according to the agreement, or who didn't receive the legal contracts, or yeah, we are kind of intervening and trying to support women in these cases.
Teraz już ludźmi, którzy z większości to kobiety, które trafili w taką niewygodną sytuację, to mają podstawy, mają już gdzie zadzwonić, jak do nas, jak do Związku Zawodowego, i wiedzą, że dostaną z naszej strony jak największe wsparcie i obronę.
So at the moment, women who are part of our labor union or who want to be a part of, now they have like a foundation and a support in case of an emergency, or in case of any support they needed. They have a telephone number, and they have like a group where they can receive a legal support, but also like emotional and other kind of support.
Bardzo dobre, jeżeli jak jesteśmy teraz jako związek, bo to mamy więcej mocy w sobie i podstaw legalnych do działania i jakby walczenia o swoje prawa.
So as a labor union, we have more power and like legal rights to fight for our rights.
I tak jak dzwonią nam dziewczyny, żeby pomóc im w sytuacjach, to jest bardzo, no, jest już poza nami parę takich apelów, i my bardzo udanie u każdej z nich wygraliśmy może.
So there have been a couple of cases where we were intervening, and all of them were successful. So at the end, for example, the women have been paid, and yes, Ruslana will tell about these cases later.
Bo kiedy dzwonią do nas i proszą o jakieś obrony i interwencje, to od razu odzwaniamy, mówimy, że Związek Zawodowy, no jeżeli trzeba, to ja jadę do tej dziewczyny do domu i albo dzwonię tylko i jakoś od razu, jak słyszę, że związek zawodowy, to od razu robię krok do tyłu i zgadzają się i już inaczej rozmawiałem z tą osobą poszkodowaną, tak jak ja miałam wypadek, że dzwoniłam.
We are reacting immediately. Once we receive a call, we call back to their pracodawca, Tomek?
Employer.
Employer, and either we call or we go there directly, and once the employer hear that we are a labor union, they are kind of stepping back, and they're like a bit afraid to fight with labor union. So at the end, the cases are successful, and and the labor union is successful in dealing and intervening with these cases. So there's a kind of respect towards the labor union when like the employee hear that.
To od razu pani, która nie chciała wypłacić dziewczynie wynagrodzenie w związku z tym, że oddawali męża do domu opieki, nie chciała wypłacić jej ostatnią pensję, ona zadzwoniła do mnie i ja już do pracodawcy odzwoniła i od razu dowiedział się, pracodawca dowiedziała się, kim jesteśmy i powiedziała, już cofnęła się i powiedziała, że nie ma sprawy, my opłacimy, jasne, że opłacimy ten. Z drugiej strony ja jeszcze powiedziała za mieszkanie i od razu zgodziła się zapłacić za miesiąc do hostelu.
So Ruslana has been shared like a case that they had recently. There was a woman who was taking care of an elderly person, and usually this kind of work is based on that the caregiver is taking care at home. And the elderly person was feeling sick and was sent to the hospital. So the employer decided that they don't need anymore the service of the caregiver, and they didn't want to pay for the work, and they also kicked out this woman from. They wanted to kick out this woman from the house immediately. So when Ruslana called the employee and told that like, hello, there is the labor union, the employee stepped back and agreed to pay for the work according to the contract, according to the agreement, and also gave money for the accommodation for the upcoming months. So this person had a possibility and time to find a new place, and also had the money to pay for the apartment.
Ну і та історія скінчилася в нашу користь, але з другої сторони ми robimy co możemy i pomagamy jak możemy, a jeżeli chodzi o nagłośnienie, na przykład, żeby o nas słyszeli więcej ludzi i więcej było nagłośniono, to nam bardzo pomaga Stowarzyszenie Pedagogów Teatru i współpracujemy już z 20 chyba, już 2 lata, nie, 3 lata z PT. I teraz już mieliśmy jeden projekt kiedyś, a teraz że poznaliśmy się wtedy na zrzut w Grecji, a teraz Tomek jak w głowie ma morze pomysłów różnych, jest pedagogiem od Boga i dużo nam pomógł z naszymi wyrzucić wizualnie, pokazać problem i bardzo takim teatralnym sposobem. My zrobili taki głośny marsz, jednak ten marsz był pokojowy.
To może... Like at the beginning, Ruslana said that they're trying to support women and people who are in need as much as they can. And then she talked about the cooperation with the Association of Theatre Pedagogues. That association helps them to transmit and to advocate their rights more publicly and more broad. And the labor union has been cooperating with the association for more than 3 years already. There were like a couple of projects, so it's a long-term cooperation. And Ruslana also said that they met with Rus 1.5 years ago in Greece during like one cooperation, and she said like that she's very grateful for Tomek and all his like creative ideas, because it helps to make these ideas that like and the things they want to express in their head to find a form and to express it like through theater and through art. And they she was referring to a march, a performative march that we did in April, that it was like in a way a peaceful and artistic form, but it was very powerful and powerful.
Ja uważam, że ten marsz nam się udało zrobić najskuteczniejszy i najwidoczniejszy teraz w Warszawie w ostatnich czasach. Wiemy, że związki zawodowe i władza to jest dwie przeciwne strony i nie wiedzieliśmy do końca, czy przyjmą nasze postulaty, ale byliśmy bardzo ładnie zaskoczone, że wyszło z ministerstwa 3 osoby i oficjalnie przyjęli nasz list. I dla nas to w ramach Związku Zawodowego to był bardzo duży sukces.
I think that like in the previous year, that was one of the most effective and successful action that our labor union had. And like in a way like the government is on one side and the labor union on another side, so we were a bit hesitating whether like the ministry will accept our demands and our postulates. So we were very surprised and very happy that the people from ministry came out and took it. So it was a very empowering action. Like it was nice that like it happened.
No myślimy, że nasza współpraca nie jest ostatnia i będzie trwała z Tomekiem Julią i z wszystkimi pedagogami teatru jeszcze bardzo długo, bo bardzo dużo idei mamy, a razem zawsze moje dziewczyny zawsze pytają na przykład, a czy będę dzisiaj, bo spotykamy się co niedzielę, Tomek z Julią i tak dalej, bo im ciekawo robić jakieś plastyczne rzeczy, ruchowe i odprężam się za ten tydzień, który siedzą nie wychodząc z domu i mają tylko jeden dzień i to niektórzy wolny i wtedy biegną do nas, żeby się troszkę odprężyć i opowiadać o swoich żalach czy o sukcesach.
So I hope this is not the end of our cooperation. We have a lot of ideas, and so I hope we'll be cooperating with Julia and Tomek and other members of the Association of Theatre Pedagogues. And some women sometimes, because there are usually meetings once a week on Sunday when the women have a day off. So sometimes they are asking whether Tomek, Dorota or Julia are coming because these tools, also like a movement and other kind of practice, plus like artistic practices, give them a sense of relief after a hard week working. So it's like a valuable time for them.
No i bardzo jestem zadowolona, że jestem tu zaproszona i zobaczyła niektórych znajomych, których już poznałam w Grecji i Myślę, że to na tym się nie skończy, że będzie jakiś bardzo, bardzo duży projekt z naszej strony i będziemy się częściej spotykać. Dziękuję bardzo.
I'm very grateful that I've been invited for this meeting, and I hope this is not the end of our cooperation. There will be more projects in the future, and it was very nice to see familiar faces and also a new one. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, and if you have any question to Ruslana, feel free to ask. Zapytam, czy jeżeli mają do ciebie pytania.
I have a question. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I would like to know what impresses the employer if you're saying that you're from a trade union. Does he feel that you have something in your hands? And do you have something in your hands, a part of the solidarity within your group? I mean, do you have something in your hands law-wise, court-wise, or like this?
Co robi wrażenie na pracodawcę, kiedy mówicie, że jesteście związkiem zawodowym? Czy to jest tylko właśnie kwestia związana z solidarnością i po prostu, że jesteście życzeni, czy na poziomie też prawnym jakby możecie coś zrobić?
No tak. Włączone. Tak, działa na poziomie prawnym tak samo. Mówimy, że jesteśmy związkiem i no, ja trochę jestem ciekawa i czytam prawo i jeżeli łagodnie po prostu nie wychodzi dyskusja z pracodawcą na poziomie, można powiedzieć, po prostu związku, czy po ludzku, tak jakby, to wtedy ja już przyciskam i mówię już strogo w parametrach prawa. I wtedy jakoś staramy się dogadać, żeby nie doszło do jakichś większych dla niego, dla pracodawcy, to znaczy większych powikłań po tym.
At the beginning, we are trying to deal with the case peacefully. So we are trying to talk, and Ruslana has been studying also she hasn't been studying in the university, but she's been studying a lot of like law and legal things around the labor rights. And if a peaceful way of dealing with the situation doesn't work, they are, introducing legal and law situation in Poland. And then like the labor law in Poland, and then like when you start to talk about labor law, the employee starts to understand the consequences, and they don't want to go usually to court. So usually at this moment it ends up. So like I think the legal structure is like also labor law in Poland, and you should respect it in a way.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So I think now we're going to pass over to Lesvos Solidarity, and there's someone who is going to be joining us to be able to talk about, and I'm sorry, but I can't remember your name. I don't know if, Christina, if you're there to introduce.
Hello, everyone. From our side, Vasya Danascu will be the expert that is going to share some information. She's the mental health activity manager of MSF in Lesbos. Vasya, welcome. And thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you, Christina. I hope you can hear me. because I'm outside. We're lacking spaces at the moment, so it's a bit windy, and I hope you can all hear. I am very happy to participate in this exchange of information, and it's obvious to me that it's the struggle is not always in Greece for the labor rights of migrants, refugees, and more or less we face the same challenges. So I was asked by Lesvos Solidarity to talk a bit about integration in Lesvos and Greece and women's labor rights, a bit about advocacy and art. So I will try to be brief and not to bombard you with many information and details with laws and stuff. The past few years, especially with the change of the government in Greece, we've seen that the policies are becoming stricter and stricter. There are always promises of integration programs. We have never seen something being very successful. Currently, there is only one official integration project provided by the EU and the Greek government, and the main implementing actor is IOM. The program is called Ilios Plus. The pillars of the program, I would say, are very, very, very successful. I mean, in theory, give me a minute. The project is very successful, but in theory, because what they were promising and what they written down in papers is that they will provide accommodation support for recognized refugees, language courses, and employability/job counseling. The main issue and the shortcomings of this project, although they want to, they have, I'm not sure if they have the willingness. What they want to offer is on the right side, let's say, but the bureaucracy behind it is huge. So in order for a person to be registered, let's say a person receives, a person receives the refugee status in Greece, in order to register to Ilios Plus and receive money for accommodation and job counseling and employability support, they need to have a bank account, they need to have a social number, they need to have, and all this, because it is an integration project, they should do by themselves. Of course, the banks are not accepting them. They don't have cultural mediators. They cannot understand each other. Then they have to upload, for example, they have to rent a house by themselves, pay for the first rents, and then receive the money from Ilios Plus. And of course, people are living in the camps or sometimes even homeless. How on earth are they going to find the money to rent a house? And then of course they have to upload the contract of the house to tax office internet platforms. So in that sense, I can very, very consciously say that apart from small NGOs like Lesvos Solidarity and very few others, on the island, very few, in Greece in general, a bit more, all employability support we have seen is from small NGOs, grassroots NGOs like Lesvos Solidarity. For example, Lesvos Solidarity has a safe passage. They try to employ women and people arriving on the island. The same was the situation with Nan restaurant. So I can say that the probabilities of somebody to find work in Greece are very, very limited. According also to IOM, the EOS project, what they're facing a lot of challenges because most of the employers hiring people in farmer works or something like this, they do not provide social insurance. So we're talking about black labor. And imagine now being a woman, and this is to me, I would like to focus on this, a single-headed family, a woman with a child. How on earth will you manage to find a work? Who will take care of the child? Who will support you with your documents? Who will provide the interpretations? And so on and so forth. So I would say, indeed, for women, especially for ones that they have children, it's almost impossible to be able to support themselves. And of course, this is a claim that they all have. They all want to work. They all want to be independent. They all want to have, to regain a sense of agency. It's in Greece, although there are some statistics highlighting that we have quite the highest labor absorbing capability for migrants and refugees and asylum seekers in the UN, among the UN countries. Again, the percentages are very, very low, and I don't think the situation. I don't think things will take a positive turn. But I also think that this is let's say, a conscious decision by the government. I am working on Lesvos Island from 2017, which was very close to the 2015, massive arrivals. So back then it was considered an emergency. Around the COVID period, or a little before, we started hearing projects closing on the island and switching to integration services. Nothing worked. And I'm sure that millions of euros have been given to this purpose. But I mean, for example, now currently IOM announced that they will hire 20 something people to do Ilios, but we all know that it's doomed not to work. So they spend the money, but there is no actual outcome. There is no actual work. And it's very disappointing because from 2020, we've been hearing that lots of money are going to integration, which doesn't work. Now, with respect to very briefly to the labor rights, upon arrival on the islands, people are not allowed to work for the first 6 months. In the past, it was 30 days. It was changed again with the new government. So now it's 6 months. And again, in order to be able to work, you have to have your legal status. Otherwise, it's very complicated. There are cases of asylum seekers working, but usually employers avoid it because the bureaucracy behind it to provide social insurance stuff becomes much more difficult. For refugees is again very, very hard because they also have to acquire a tax number, which is again very difficult to obtain. So it's, I don't know, every time I'm trying not to be so pessimistic or angry, but the reality more often than not is so disappointing. What as MSF, I hope Christina, if I don't know if it's she's still here, I hope Christina would take 5 minutes to talk about what they do specifically in Lesvos Solidarity, as I think she's more appropriate for this. I can share with you what we're trying to do with in MSF. I am responsible for the mental health and the social work department. The case workers, the social workers are very much dedicated to testimony collection, to receive testimonies of the people regarding the conditions in the camp, their challenges and struggles. What we see, apart from the testimonies which refer to the border violence, which of course is a main issue, and the living conditions in the camp, we see that the majority of the people are very much disappointed because they see there is no chance that they will easily find a job and be able to survive by themselves and to have a decent life, to regain a sense of agency. So from our side, what we do, apart from the testimony collection, of course, although it's not at all in our mandate, we really try to support people with employability. We try to find vacancies and to connect people with possible employers. And again, MSF is a medical organization, but we see the need, and somehow the social workers try to support on this. And we also, throughout the testimony collection, we try also to create groups, women's group or men, self-advocacy groups, because also we need the people to participate in decision-making processes and to decide on what is important for them to talk about and to work towards, succeeding something. For example, I'm not sure when was this, but there was a massive, there were letters written by these groups to the tax office asking that to find a solution on their tax number and how they could receive the tax number. Of course, NGOs facilitated as well. And so as MSF, we definitely believe that advocacy is very, very important. But most important is the self-advocacy, and this is what we're trying to focus on the past period. I don't have something to present. Hopefully, if we meet again, I will have something more tangible to share with you with respect to this self-advocacy group. An example that I can share in this is that last year we asked the people to take photos of their lives, and to me this is very important, the outcome in the camp, and what does it mean to be an asylum seeker, a migrant, a refugee in Greece. And we did a small photo exhibition with the narratives of the people. Apart from the people commenting the living conditions, for example, there was a photo of the food that is provided in the camp, and the narrative was, this is the food I'm obliged to eat. Sometimes it's not enough, every time it's not of good quality, and I wish I could work so I could choose what to eat, what to cook, to be able to decide for my life. So, and generally, the photo exhibition was targeting, apart from being in exile, the poverty levels and the challenges to integrate into a society. They were commenting how discriminated against they felt in the society. And I can say, because I live here quite a lot of years, it's not that harsh. Lesvos society is not that against the refugees. Yet again, we have voices that they are against. So I don't know what else I could comment on all this, and I don't know if you have any other questions. Any questions, not any other questions. Christina, are you here? Are you listening?
Yes, I'm here, I'm listening.
Maybe you could talk a bit about Safe Passage and None.
We did it in the beginning. We had 10 minutes.
You did it before I entered?
Yes, yes.
Okay, okay. Sorry, because I was busy.
Don't worry.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I had a question about the photo exhibition,
Yeah.
and in your opinion, in terms of seeing the potential of that type of work, do you feel like that in itself, the photo exhibition, can be is enough for making political change? Like, how can the photo exhibition be seen by people? I mean, this is a question that I hold within my work a lot. Is art, like, who needs to see the work, and how can we frame the work itself for it to have concrete impact?
Of course, I don't think it's enough by itself. Definitely. I think what is needed is efforts from many actors and from many people. And I mean, this photo exhibition was part of the mental health festival that took place in Lesvos, and it was organized by the public hospital. So many people from Athens were here, politicians were here. They were all amazed by the so it created some noise, but I would never say this is enough. You need to follow up. You need maybe to back it up with research. You need to have more coordinated advocacy efforts, and if possible, with many actors, which is also another issue because not everybody agrees. And especially with the shrinking of the humanitarian sector, many NGOs left the island. It's very difficult to find funding, especially in the with the current global situation. And there are NGOs who are very, they have very honest and kind, how to say it, their hearts are in the right place, but they're also scared that they might be stopped by the government, so they cannot be vocal. They can, even us as MSF, we have to find the balance on what we receive from the people and how vocal we can be, because you never know. Maybe the next day they will accuse you for I don't know what, and they shut your operation. So it becomes tougher and tougher to talk. Then you have the Minister of Migration going out public saying that the EOS project will work and employability and everything is perfect. So they own also the media. They have their propaganda, which makes it even harder.
Thank you. Yeah. I think.
But I also think it's important to have these initiatives, even with a small impact. I mean, you have to keep trying to keep doing. I cannot see any other way.
Yeah, I agree. And actually, it really sort of links to what I was going to say. And I think that sense of the integrated, like many small, because also it prevents burnout as well. There's this sense of overwhelm, incredible overwhelm, that I think many of us face. Yeah, there's something about having these like and it's sort of to bring it back to this project, the art of moving forward. I feel like there's it's given us the permission to work deeply at a local level, and for that to be connected with other organizations that are working deeply at a local level, and that connection means that we're not the ones, not each organization is having to try to do something Europe-wide, but actually the connections between us are starting to create more of a map or more of an impact, however micro,
Yeah.
And yeah, I just wanted to say as well, my earrings that you were saying about safe passage, and these I put them on this morning and then thought, even more perfect that I'm wearing them today. So yeah, these were made by Lesvos Solidarity that I got a few weeks ago when we were visiting. So I just wanted to answer the question that Vera, that you asked earlier around how we worked with the women in terms of the theatre and the performance that we were making. Yeah, one of the challenges that we have faced and that continue to face in La Bolina and many other organizations working in this context, I think, is that that it's very difficult to, people don't want to speak out publicly about what's their experiences, and sometimes they're not allowed to. So we might have a group who all commit to meeting, and then one of the husbands, particularly with Muslim women, sometimes the husbands don't let them go to take part in these activities because they feel like they're not appropriate. And so there's this real sense of having to give enough information that people feel safe to come, support people to come with children, go to pick people up from the many different locations that they live in, very rural contexts, often just in sort of shanty sort of structures alongside the greenhouses, rather than in, you know, they're not, many of them can't afford to live in the villages or in the towns, so they live kind of alongside the roads, these very long stretches of roads that run alongside the greenhouses. And so, yeah, so the workshops that we've been doing have been closed private workshops that use theatre as a way of building trust and building community between the women themselves. And then the way that I've been working with that as a theatre maker, as a director, is sort of using these moments to harvest, with the permission of the women, different different scenes, let's say, different moments that are really striking from their work, from their realities, and then using that material with performance makers and actors to be able to represent in different contexts the work in public. And it's my dream one day to be able to have enough time and budget to be able to create a theatre company with migrant women, but they would need to then be not having to try to balance work in, you know, however many hours a day in the greenhouses and also do this. So it would require having salaries to pay however many people, you know, 10 women to come together for 2 years to train and to work as theatre makers, and to be able to work with them in a way that is using trauma-informed participatory theatre making to support them to be the authors of the stories that they're themselves telling, and then to go on a public tour as a theatre company, as a professional theatre company. This is a dream, and I hold on to this. I'm sort of hoping that will come, because I think that also has a lot of power in it. But in the way, on the road to that, I'm finding other ways that, and then there's a huge amount of ethical considerations that I'm making all the time. So going back to the women and checking with them that they're okay that I use this part of the narrative that they've told me, that they give me permission continually to be able to use it in the context that I am. And yeah, this sense of radical friendship that I'm going to say again is like very important. Like for example, with Fatima, who's the person in the film, sharing her recipe of the couscous, was this way that I could bring her and her life to the audience in a way that I couldn't bring her, and I couldn't bring the audience to her. But there was this kind of bridging, and I think that really makes powerful experiences when audiences, whether that's general public or politicians, are able to have a first person experience where they're able to kind of actually have a lived experience themselves in a very small way of some of the issues that people are facing. So yeah, we have 15 minutes left, and we'd really like to turn this time towards all of you. I'd really welcome you, if you're there, to put your camera on so we can see you if you'd like to. And I am going to pass over to Tomek, who I think will do a little shakeout or something with us so that we have a moment before opening up to some questions.
So we would not like you to like be left only with the screen. So like the 3 minutes for pleasure for your body. I invite you to put your eyes somewhere outside of the screen first. Maybe it's your room, maybe it's outside, maybe you can look somewhere that is far away also. Look at a contour or like a shape of a object that you see, a plant that you see. And to, if it's possible for you, also to stand up, to be in a standing position so that you can feel also the ground underneath your feet, and to move your head a little bit, rotating it one side, like with full rotations, and the other side. And you can then go to your shoulders and also rotate your shoulders, one side, the other side, maybe making your arms a little bit bigger, going to all your joints in the upper limbs, your elbows, your wrists, joints, little joints in your fingers, and move all of your limbs. And maybe you can now go to the pelvis and also rotate your pelvis right and left. So like you put water into your joints when you move them, you make them more able to move. And also remember that you do it in your own pace, the pace of your own pleasure, and of this, what is possible for your body. And if there's one more thing that you would like to do, jump, maybe work with your jaw, maybe work more with your eyes, maybe stretch a bit. You have like 20, 30 more seconds to do it. And to gently go back to our common meeting when you're done. So maybe in this movement, a little bit of movement, some questions came up, some questions arose in this time. We invite all of thoughts of how you think that this work can also maybe influence your work, or maybe your thoughts about what kind of work it generally can influence in Europe or around the world, or in your little community, and maybe also questions that you have to very specific things in Spain, Greece, and Poland.
I'll say a couple of things. I wanted to thank you for, well, to La Bolina, to Ruth, for publicizing this, or I wouldn't have seen it. But my name is Marilyn Loyola. I'm a professor in the United States. So I feel a bit like an outsider, even though I'm sitting in Madrid right now for the next few hours. So it's been very inspiring. I spent last week in the Mar de Plástico that Ruth was talking about, and I even drove through the asentamientos and spoke to people living in the chabolas. I get a little bit emotional because they were so kind of generous with their stories and their time, and they actually invited us in for tea in one of the families, and we spent an hour speaking broken Spanish, broken English, I shouldn't say broken, but using AI translators to communicate for an hour, and we laughed, and it was wonderful. but we learned so much about the community that way. And I'm trying to start a research project that the more I get into it, the bigger it gets. But we even visited like desalination plants to look at what the effect of the water crisis is going to have on this community. So trying to look at it from the top and from the bottom in all the ways. And so I really appreciate all of the work that you're doing. I'm also following a group in El Salvador and a theater founder named Egli Larreinaga, who founded a theater group called La Cachada in San Salvador, where the theater group, similar to what Ruth is talking about, is a group of women street vendors. And so based on their stories, they've put on several performances having to do with their work, and it's the actual street vendors as the actors. And so this work is happening in many parts of the world. And in that context in particular, in a political context in which speaking in a way that may create discomfort or unrest. I don't know there's a new law in El Salvador where someone can go to jail for 10 to 15 years for just speaking in a way that's disruptive. And so this kind of work is, I feel like, so important and so intense, and there are ethical questions and also such an urgency at the same time. And so I really appreciate and admire all of the work that you're doing. And if there's any way that I can connect to it from the United States, I'd be so fortunate and honored to do it. So thank you.
Thank you, Marilyn. We invite all sorts of voices, so and questions. Also, if you have any that you would like to share in the chat, please do that. So any forum is well seen.
Can I say something? I wanted to thank you also for this meeting. While you were talking, I got an idea for my work here. I'm a volunteer in Lesvos Solidarity, but also I'm working in Berlin with people that we take into church asylum, refugees that we take into church asylum. And we're just now trying to change our meetings and to have them being more part of our meetings, part of the work, and not just the object, so to say, of our care while they are with us. And when you were talking about the videos that you took, it suddenly became clear to me that just yesterday I was in a situation where a refugee really got very angry on the German system of dealing with refugees, and he was very loud. And I thought now, when after our meeting, this is very productive. I have to ask him whether he can do it as a document for the whole situation, because the situation is getting more and more tense in Germany. But we have to be loud. So thank you for giving me this idea.
As we have like 3-4 more minutes, if there are no more like questions or reflections, I would propose that each person can say one word or one sentence with which they are going out of this meeting, and then appoint another person to also say or write in the chat their one word or phrase. If you don't want, you just can say you're out of it, and it's also okay. So I will steal mine from Ruth. It's the radical friendship. And I would like to pass on to Vera.
Thank you. Just honored. We're all a stage. Yeah, that's my word. And I will pass to Ruth.
Yeah, I think fruition is my word, or culmination. Yeah, seeing what's happened, and then marking this moment, and then knowing that there's politically massive challenges ahead, and but yeah, feeling a sense of culmination to the fact that we've got here. I pass to I'm going to try and pronounce your name again. Iphigenia.
Hello, everybody. From my side, I was attending, although in part I had closed my camera. I was attending with focus, and I would like to thank you. First of all, thank Lesvos Solidarity that invited me to this event. It was very interesting to watch the work and the impact of you all. So thank you very much for today, and I will pass the floor to Ruslana.
Ja uważam, że jak jesteśmy w każdym kraju, każdy po jakiejś sprawie dobrej zrobi dla ludzi i tym bardziej dla takich ludzi, którzy potrzebują, to już jesteśmy siłą. I w jedności jest siła, i z drugiej strony pokój w sercu, bo już coś się dzieje, coś się da zrobić.
So I feel that in each country, if we do something for change, especially for vulnerable communities, it brings a change, and it brings power. And the last sentence, że pokój w sercu.
Tak, jestem spokojna, że jak więcej ludzi dołączą i swoje słowo powiedzą, to już jestem spokojna, że coś z tego
I feel at peace when I see that more people are joining and doing things for change, that there is a hope for change in different areas. And my word would be collaboration for change. And I'm passing to Marlene.
Thank you. So your work, all of you, reiterate to me and make a very strong statement about the transformative power of creativity and imagination and performance to change minds and ways of being. And I think that taking that with me is a very powerful message. So thank you. And I pass to Elina.
Hello. Thank you all for all your presentations. It was very interesting to hear from all of you your work during these times, and your work for advocacy, combining through art. And I'm glad to be here. Thank you. And I need to pass someone. Yes, I pass it to Michalis.
So I'm trying to think. I would say togetherness, unity, and if it's not too cliche for a member of Lesvos Solidarity to say solidarity, I would like to say solidarity as well. And I would like to pass to, I think I'll try to pronounce it. Marilyn, have you talked? Sorry.
Yes, I did.
Who hasn't? Carlos, would you like to? Ute?
Carlos says in the chat that they can't talk right now, but did write a message before. So maybe I think the people that haven't is Didi and Julia.
And I think Julia did.
Julia talked.
Ute?
Oh, you talked already. Sorry, I didn't realize that you went. Yeah.
Michalis
Maybe
appointed
Didi.
Ute.
Yes, I talked too, but I would say being connected can strengthen us. I pass on to Christina.
Christina had to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is Vasia still there?
No.
Okay, so
I
then I
think-
don't know.
She wrote it in the chat as well.
Yeah. I think maybe unless anyone else who hasn't spoken, because I think maybe some people might have already moved on. But yeah, I wanted to say just a huge thank you to each of the people who have spoken, and to each of the women who have been engaged in the work on the ground, the potentially hundreds, who knows, of people who have been impacted by the work, seen the videos, taken part in workshops of this project over the last 2 years. And hopefully to the many people who will be a part of the future of this project and to changing the lives. Yeah, and to all of you for being here. Thank you so much. It really makes such a difference that we can share this work and this project with a small but very powerful group. It's been a real pleasure. Yeah.
Thank you.
Likewise, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Ciao.